Hey, meow.
Meow.
We're live. What's up? I'm excited today. And you know why I'm excited? Do you know why I'm so pumped today, Adam?
Pumped. Pumped up. Tell
Yes,
us. Why are you so pumped?
because it's another amazing Tuesday with another amazing episode of Star Wars Acolyte premiering tonight.
I know. Look, it even airs earlier for me. It's at 6 p.m.
I know, and
You
I
have
don't
to
know if
wait
you,
till 9 p.m.
I, it's frustrating. I'm gonna be sitting here like, what am I supposed to do until 9 o'clock when cinematic masterpiece will come on screen and I could just watch it and be absorbed into the world of Star Wars and say, I'm so happy. I love this franchise. Oh,
Yeah, rumor has it there's going to be some pronouns. They're going to teach us how to respect people's pronouns.
you know, I've been watching Star Wars for a long time
Right,
and
right.
I've always felt like something was missing.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
And it was that I'm like watching all these aliens and I'm like, why do all these aliens look like men and women or just like a bug person? Where are all the non-binaries?
Yeah.
Okay. Where's all the trans people in Star Wars? I want to
Yeah.
know people's pronouns. I
Yes,
want to be
true.
respectful. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You were born some crazy alien and you want to transition into some other type of crazy alien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. The horizon is limitless. We don't just have to go from man to woman. There could be an infinite number of sexes, an infinite number of genders, an infinite number of alien species that we can explore. All right.
Yeah. This is the perfect series to explore gender ideology to its fullest. I'm so glad Disney decided to spend $4 billion on this property so the gender ideologues can explore their kink.
It is
Well,
weird. Like the budget for Acolyte is like 180 million or something. And people are like pointing out how that's a higher budget than The Mandalorian, is a higher budget, I think, than Andor. And
yeah.
I mean, we've only seen 3 episodes so far. And I was watching it and I'm like, okay, where's this budget going?
Yes. Where
Because
is it?
obviously it didn't go to any sort of writers. It didn't really feel like it was going to any of the actors. And the
Yes.
sets and the costumes aren't like they're not like trash, but they're not great. And I'm like, where's all this money going?
Well, Sitch, I have a theory.
Okay,
Okay.
what's your theory?
It's called equity. Okay. When you have to pay your lowliest extra as
Hmm.
much as your lead star, things get expensive very, very, very quickly. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So it's probably all gone to paychecks.
I see. They had to make sure that every single person got the same equitable amount of money.
Of
So they
course.
didn't get accused
Yes.
of any bigotry.
Exactly. Exactly. This could be a human resources nightmare for Disney. You don't know what they're playing with here.
Okay, I want you to wrap your mind around this. All right. So Star Wars Acolyte, it's 8 episodes, has a budget of $180 million.
Yeah.
Okay. House of
Yes.
the Dragon,
Oh no, don't.
season two. All right. Which let's see, how many episodes is that going to be? Uh,
Who knows?
I don't
Did
know. It
you
doesn't say, but it
you
says
watch House of the Dragon, right?
I did, and we can talk about that. But their budget is $130 million.
Wow, they saved 50 million. Wow,
They
it's
did.
amazing what happens when you actually hire competent writers.
Isn't that wild?
I want
Because
to point something I want to point something out about the acolyte and the incompetence that we're dealing with here, right? We've watched 3 episodes, we're about to watch a fourth episode. We keep watching scenes that none of us really have enough information to be invested in. And when you actually hire competent writers, they understand. And spoiler if you haven't seen House of the Dragon, but at the end of the episode of the House of the Dragon, uh, there's two guys going around looking to kill one of the sons.
hmm
Okay. And they find the boy, the baby boy. It's the wrong kid. They're not. They're supposed to kill. What is this? Agon? Is that his name?
the eye patch.
Eye Patch, yeah. So they're supposed to kill Eye Patch. They decide they're going to kill the baby instead, right? In order to understand the conflict fully in that scene, you need to know the relationship between the boy and his dad, right?
Hmm
Voila. They put a scene in the beginning of the episode so you completely understand the context of that scene. And the whole time you're going, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. There's none of that going on in Acolyte.
Right.
How are we invested in these characters, invested in the conflict if we don't have any fucking information about any of them?
That is a good point. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, well, I know because I watched episode one yesterday and I had forgot like most of season
Oh,
one of House of
so
the
did I.
Dragon.
So did I. I'm like, oh man, this was forever ago. What the
I
hell
was
is
like,
going
what the
on?
hell? And they had a little recap thing, but it wasn't very
No, it was
explanatory. And
Spartan.
I was just watching, I was like, oh, that's right. I started to remember like all the things because there's like a million people in the show and whatever. But you're right, like they do set up clearly who the character is before they,
Before they
kill him.
axe him. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So look, you got to know these things. You got to have enough information so the audience knows what the fuck is going on.
Right. Right.
So they have a scene in the beginning where the king goes to round up his favorite son and bring him to the royal meeting with him, right? And
Hmm.
you can see how much he loves his son and he's doing all this stuff with his son to fuck with everyone at the table and stuff like that. But you understand the relationship there. It's like the perfect setup for the ending of the thing. And without that scene, the ending is like half as good.
Well, it's weird. But it's frustrating to me because so HBO, like years before they had any intention of putting out House of the Dragon, they made a little like 20-minute animated short that explains the entire plot of House of the Dragons.
Right, yeah. That is called
And
dramatic irony right there.
well, yeah, so I already know everything that's gonna happen.
Right.
Because
So I
I
guess
watched it like years ago.
who cares about the spoiler then, right?
Right. But so and obviously spoilers for episode one, because but so this is I don't understand why they changed this because I agree with you. It was good that they set up like who the kid is, so you understand the conflict, blah 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 blah. But it's weird because in the original source material, that scene is like 1,000 times more dramatic, and I have no clue why they changed it. So maybe I'm curious as to what your take is on this.
Oh, okay. I look they do that stupid thing where they ask the mom who the boy is, which I'm just like, no, come on, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, why don't you just check?
Yeah, yeah,
So in in the original source material, they had the same thing. They have those two guys come up, and it's more, at least I seem like in the source material, they're not looking for eye patch. They're looking to kill one of those kids
oh, really?
intentionally, just to be like assholes. Because when they show up, in the original source material, it's different in the show. In the original source material, there's two boys there. They're both boys, and they ask the mom to choose which child she wants to die.
See,
Okay.
that's way better
And
because
then, yeah,
the which one's the boy thing completely takes you out of the scene because
yes,
it's so ridiculous. Yeah, check
yes.
yourself, move on. Yeah,
And then when she chooses one in the source material, they intentionally kill the other one just to fuck with her.
right. Okay, that's million.
And they tell the one that they don't kill, like, your mom wanted us to kill you. And they kill the other one. So it's like, holy shit. And then
That is fucking way better.
and
That's
then
so much more conflict.
after they kill the kid, she's like holding the body and like
Mhm.
screaming. And everyone runs in. They just find her holding like her dead child covered in blood. And I was like, why did they not? That sounds like the most like dramatic, intense, like conflict ridden, like visual scene ever. Why did they change it in like the show and made like they tampered it down so much?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, swing for the fences, right?
Hmm.
Especially for the first episode. Oh my god, that would have been so much better for the first episode. That
I
that
don't
is
know.
in some short that you watched?
Yeah, if you go, it's like on HBO's YouTube channel. If you type in like House of the Dragon animated short, there's a 20-minute short where they spoil the entire series because it's based off of a book, and
Maybe I won't
that's what
watch it yet.
happens according to that in the original source material. Because I haven't read the House of the Dragon original book, and I was like, Jesus, like, why did they like that? Sounds so much more crazy.
And that's in the animated short. Yeah, look,
Yes.
that's awesome. That is way awesome.
I mean, the only reason I could think of is because they're trying to do something where it seems like in the source material, everyone involved is kind of awful. And it seems like in this one, they're trying to make all the characters a little bit more like likable and morally gray and not so terrible and evil.
Yeah,
And like
Aegon,
a
they
lot of the
definitely.
conflict is based on miscommunication and misunderstanding, which I frankly despise, but that's the direction they're going.
Oh yeah, that's the
So,
worst. Save the
anyways,
miscommunication for comedy.
hmm
Miscommunication is great for comedy, but yeah.
yeah, it's a good point. Machin brought up. I forgot this in the House of the Dragon book. It's actually based off of three different sources, and it's like super complicated because it's supposed to be implied that the sources are like historical sources that all have their own biases. So it's not even clear like how much of the story is true, I guess. So maybe this is supposed to be like the quote real version of what really happened, and it's not as like insane as the book version.
Cool.
Anyway,
Cool.
so so there was this interesting thing. So there's a account, a media account called Looper. They do a million of these like YouTube videos that they kind of like pop out here. They used to be a big channel. I don't know what they're doing nowadays. Um, yeah, it's got 5.7 million subscribers,
Wow.
but their
That's like
videos don't do well like for their size anymore. So it's one of those channels that blew up like way in the past. It's kind of died, I guess. So they made a very interesting video and article. The video has been taken down. The article still exists, though edited, where they were talking about Star Wars Acolyte and throwing weird, like out of nowhere shade at both Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic. So let's watch this.
I mean, I think a lot of it that could be driven by jealousy, especially if they have a 5 million subscriber channel that is effectively dead, and like both Gary and Critical Drinker are as popular as they are right now. So
I mean, that's
obviously,
probably a good point. Yeah,
salt, a
sure,
lot of
sure.
salt. So where's this article?
Well, I'll bring it up, but let's watch the clip first.
Oh, okay,
The clip is basically just like the guy reading the article.
okay. Let's. I guess we're gonna do a 3, 2, 1
Yeah.
here. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Some audience members have issues with the show's diversity and LGBTQ plus themes, and those should be dismissed. However, viewers should genuinely examine the legitimate criticisms The Acolyte has received. Cultural critics like the Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic have dubbed the show lore-breaking for its recent revelations, but their commentary isn't productive. Rather, it encourages bigotry and hatred over a show that's just getting started. As always, rage bait and review bombings distract from actual criticism. In particular, Episode 3 has proven to be controversial, and perhaps rightfully so. Some audience members have
Okay, look, that's a lot of cope.
Well, it actually makes sense because they're like Critical Drink and Erotic have dubbed the show lore breaking, but their commentary isn't productive. It encourages bigotry. Like, wait a minute, how is saying it's how is saying something breaks the lore encourage bigotry?
Oh yeah, complete non sequitur.
What does that even
Obviously,
mean?
nobody
Like,
ever addresses any of the actual criticism.
no, no. And they even say like, well, maybe. Well, this was interesting because at the end of that clip, they're like, well, maybe there is some valid criticism. So it's like, well, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, just address a valid criticism for heaven's sakes. Look, I made a very specific critique about how we don't have enough information to really be interested in any of these characters or the scenes that are taking place in front of us. What does that have to do with diversity and inclusion?
Well, this really, to me, highlights why the fan baiting theory is correct. Because you have a show that this could be a show where every quote diverse character is replaced by a white male, and it would be
It would
still
still
the same
suck.
level of
Yeah.
trash. Okay, it has no impact on anything. It'll still be trash. And yet, and if that was the case, if these are all guys, these are all white guys doing all this stuff, everyone would be able to call it out as being terrible. But because it's a strong, independent, diverse cast, suddenly it gets like this magic shield from certain people. They say, "Oh, you can't criticize it because if you do, you're a bad man's."
Yeah, bigotry of low expectations is real right here.
Yes.
Oh, but it's this black cast, okay? They don't know how to make real movies. Give them a break. These
Right.
gay people don't know how to write. Be easy on them, okay? They have other things. You know, they have to worry about being oppressed all day long, okay? It's tough to be a good writer and be oppressed.
Well, it's just like
It's just stupid.
The critic review of this on Rotten Tomatoes is still at 84%.
Yes, because all of those people are just like, I'm not going to get accused of racism and lose my job. That is preference falsification right there. They're like, I'll just keep my mouth shut and I can show up at work.
We got to give points to Neil Justin here, critic for the Minneapolis Star Tribune, top critic. He says, the sight of a lightsaber coming to life has become about as thrilling as turning on a table lamp.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. This is the thing, and it's completely, they're in their ideological bubble because they see like a black gay lesbian and they love that character just because it's a black gay lesbian. They don't think, oh, whatever this character does is what people think about them, right? Their actions, their behavior, how they talk, well, what they do. They're like, no, we worship the black gay lesbian. Yeah, so it's true.
So I found the article because this video was like deleted from the internet because I guess they got so much pushback and it was so embarrassing. They realized it was a big mistake. But I found the article that it's based off of, and all they did was they just removed. It's the same exact script, but they just removed the part about critical drinker and Nerdrotic.
Really?
Yeah.
Talk about being in a bubble.
Let me read some parts here. It says, "Why is the Acolyte being reviewed bomb? Even prior to its release, some Star Wars fans were dismissive over Leslie Headland's prequel series. Certain audience members were critical of Headland's intention to create a diverse female-led show, which led to toxic discussions months before its debut. Once the Acolyte premiered, it became a victim of review bombing on platforms like Rotten Tomatoes. As of this writing, it has a 17% audience score, a huge disparity from its positive 86% critic score. Take a brief look at some of the audience reviewers, and it's clear that certain fans are being overly critical, slamming the show with 1-star ratings. Quote, utter drivel. I tried to enjoy the series, but canceled my Disney Plus subscription after enduring the awful third episode. Shared one user who to date has only reviewed The Acolyte." Well, how do you know that's not true? Why are they just assuming that's fake?
Right. Look, well, I don't know now because it's like I heard that in a Mike Zero video. I guess I got to unsubscribe to Mike Zero because I have no idea if it's true or not. He said there's a dip in Disney Plus subscriptions, but I mean, are there? I don't know.
Yeah, actually, so Adam sent me a Mike Zero video. I'd never heard of this guy before or seen any of his content, and he says some very interesting things about like behind the scenes information of people like Disney mad at Kathleen Kennedy on the board, and he talked about like the entire marketing team was going to be fired or something. I know he talked about this like gossip, and I was like, oh wow, that's like this is like super interesting information. And I like Googled it because I'm like, whenever there's this big Hollywood drama, there's people talking about it, there's leaks and stuff talking about it. And I couldn't find anything that was talking about the things that Mike Zero was talking about. I was like, oh, that's really weird. Like, does he have, so I went back and watched the video. I'm like, what is his source? And I listened to it and I brought up the transcript and I didn't see him say what his source was for this information. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Does he have like a insider or something? And so I just typed in like his name and source, and I saw there's like 1 million like Reddit posts and YouTubers that are just saying that he just makes shit up.
Yeah,
so I was like, oh, okay. People in the chat are saying too that he just makes stuff up. So I've never heard of this guy before, and his videos get like shit tons of views. So I guess it's whatever's going on there is working. But
when you're not constrained by reality, such obviously you can,
right.
You can make amazing videos. I think this was the rift between Gary of Nerdrotic and Doomcock. I think Doomcock was accused of just making stuff up.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, he would always say, look, I have an inside source and this may or may not be true, but I heard this. which I mean, obviously he's covering his bases, but
Right.
I don't know if any of that's true or not. And so I don't really know Doomcock but I think that's why there was a rift between Gary and Doomcock.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's unfortunate because I was listening to Mike Zero stuff. I was like, oh, this is crazy. I'm like,
it's
and I listened
great.
to him, like, this is great. It means that like Disney and Lucas, or not Lucasfilm, but Disney is, acknowledging the mistake. Maybe is going to be able to fix it. I was like excited, and I'm like, oh wait, this is probably all just made.
So was there a secret meeting at Disney? Because he talks
Who the
about,
fuck knows? I don't know.
I was like, is there audio of this meeting? Oh my God. He talks about how Bob Iger went in and he's like shaking people up and firing people right and left. I'm like,
yeah,
oh my
I was
God.
excited. I was like, oh, this is great. Maybe they'll finally get on track. And then I looked up, everyone's like, no, he just makes stuff up constantly. I was like, oh, great. Apparently, he's like talked about Kathleen Kennedy being fired like for 3 years now. And obviously, that's never happened.
Right. Yeah.
Though, I mean, it is possible from a non, making up fake rumors position, because this series has cost a lot and has done so poorly. More so, and it is breaking. Like, this series is so bad that it is breaking, I think, through the whole like protective bubble of diversity. That
Yes.
this could lead to some kind of shakeup. I doubt Kathleen Kennedy will be fired, but it could lead to something, some sort of like awakening. And I want you to play that clip from the audiobook. Or at least, I don't know if you can play it if we get in trouble. We just talk about it. But
no, we can play it.
Right. Oh, but let me finish reading this Looper article. The large disparity between audiences and critics isn't just a Rotten Tomato issue. Metacritic has its Metascore at 67, signaling positive reaction. However, the user score is a mediocre 4.3. Once again, the audience reviews are overwhelmingly negative, with many using toxic, bigoted language to describe the series with what can be considered hated rather than criticism. Audience members on IMDb are also mixed to negative on the series, especially when it comes to the controversial episode 3. With over 9,600 reviews, the episode has an abysmal 3.6 rating. Around 59% of the users who reviewed the episode gave it a 1. Quote, "This is how you ruin Star Wars from within. The worst Star Wars series I've ever watched, and definitely the worst episode I've ever had to endure," wrote one user, failing to actually criticize the show. Well, I mean, listen, they are criticizing the show. They're just saying it in very general terms. Okay, they didn't say it very specifically, but
doesn't matter. Even if you have specific terms, they're going to call you a bigot.
Yes. Like, I'm trying to, if there was actually some movie or TV show that had like ultra diversity wokeness in it, and it was good, and you saw people criticizing it like for like BS reasons, I'd be like, finally, they found their magical, mythical, straw man. It finally exists. They finally found the dragon that wasn't a windmill, and it just hasn't materialized yet.
It would have happened in Into the Spider-Verse too, because I mean, they literally have a Spider-Man in a fucking wheelchair. They have a disabled Spider-Man. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Into the Spider-Verse, very diverse cast, obviously.
They have Miguel is like the head honcho, right?
Right.
I mean, it's that movie is so good. Like, people are willing to look past all that stuff.
Yep. You even have the little LGBT flag stuck in Gwen's room. You have the super weird, I completely made up headcanon about her like coming out as trans, or her coming out to her father. Spider Girl is supposed to be, or Spider Woman is supposed to be like a trans allegory, which is retarded. But, and yeah, people still said, well, it was a good movie.
Yeah, but who cares?
And there wasn't any like really political stuff in it. It just had a diverse cast. Right?
They had the Bollywood Spider-Man. Oh, that guy was awesome.
Yes, exactly. That guy was great. They even had a far left anarchist Spider-Man.
Exactly. Yeah, they even had the leftists. Yeah.
Yes, the black British anarchist Spider-Man, who was very funny. Though I still think his character is like making fun of the concept of anarchy, not really.
Right. Yeah, see? So look, where's the hate for that? Where's the review bombing for Into the Spider-Verse 2? What's that got
listen,
on Rotten Tomatoes?
all the bigots knew that this is how they cope. They say all the bigots knew that movie would be too good, that they couldn't like pretend it would be bad. So they couldn't do their normal grift.
Cope. Massive
Yes.
cope.
So the article continues saying the Acolyte should be criticized, but not blindly. Oh, so even Looper, as they're like complaining about all the haters, they're like, well, maybe it should be criticized. Okay. Even they're like, wait a minute. They said some audience members have issues with the show's diversity and LGBTQ plus themes, and those should be dismissed. However, viewers should genuinely examine the legitimate criticisms the Acolyte has received. Rage bait and review bombings distract from actual criticism. In particular, episode 3 has proven to be controversial, and perhaps rightfully so, as it makes major potential changes to the Star Wars canon.
Always a good idea.
Right. The series says that May and Osha were conceived without a father in a similar way to Anakin Skywalker. This could be considered sacrilegious, as Anakin was deemed the chosen one, with his birth being an unexpected miracle. If other Force users can be conceived of in a similar way, it does diminish Anakin's importance to the larger Star Wars lore. Then again, this is episode 3 of an 8-episode series, meaning there's plenty of time to expand upon this. It's possible that May and Osha's conception ties into Darth Plagueis, who had the power to create life. Also, the idea of Osha and May having two parents of the same gender isn't really that big of a deal, considering Star Wars once implied that Anakin was the son of two Sith fathers. Seeing as the coven of witches are able to create life, it'll be interesting to see if the series shows the Sith taking advantage of this power. For now, audiences will just have to wait and see how May and Osha's saga unravels and if the Acolyte does end up actually being lore breaking.
All this lore stuff is important, but it would be less important if the show was actually good. Like if it had characters and motivations that you understood and were interested in. All right, right? I mean,
yes.
The lore would be, look, the only ones talking about the lore are the people who know that this lore exists. Like the casual viewer who doesn't know about the backstory here of the entire Star Wars universe doesn't know this. They're just watching and going, wow, these characters are boring and suck and are doing nothing interesting. And what the hell is going on?
Well, that's and I was gonna say what's interesting is like, even their Looper here is smelling the writing on the wall. And it's funny because this is like the fan baiting thing. They have to, like, the reason they have to attack Nerdrotic and Drinker is because they have to be like, oh, well, we want to criticize it too, maybe, but we have to like differentiate. We have to show that we're on the good side of history before we can even criticize the show, right? That's why they did all that stuff. And then even then, when they do get into their criticism, they're like, it's the most like, sticking your toe in the water, like, well, I mean, I guess it completely destroys the lore, but we don't know yet because it's only episode 3. Like maybe it won't destroy the lore. Maybe it'll be totally fine with the lore. We don't know. Why are you making assumptions, bro?
Yeah, like, okay. Well, I guess we'll find out tonight.
We will, yeah. Well, but
look, I looked up Into the Spider-Verse. 95% critics, 94% audience rating.
There you
10,000 verified ratings.
There you go.
So what happened here, Sitch? Why is this going on here? I thought everyone hated diversity.
I guess
you literally have a black Spider-Man.
Listen, that movie was so popular that all of the horrible bigots got wiped out in the reviews.
Right. Yeah. Look, Peter Parker, the only white straight male in the thing, is second fiddle to all these other Spider-Man.
Yeah. And he's just like comedic. He's not even like, doing much in the story.
Yeah.
So, but you're also right too. What's interesting is like the article, this is supposed to be doing some kind of review for Star Wars, and they don't even talk about why the episode is bad from a storytelling perspective, beyond that it could potentially destroy some key aspect of the lore. They don't talk about how nothing is explained, nothing is set up, why the fuck anyone should care about any of these characters, why the conflict is even happening between the Jedi and the Coven. We don't even know or understand because the show doesn't fucking tell us.
Yeah. Good writing is very simple. It's setup, payoff, setup, payoff. Right?
Right. Well, it's funny because like that is just the bare minimum. You can have setup and payoff and it's be bad, but like you need to have it in the first place.
Yeah, look. they don't even get that. And that is just beginner writing 101, right? Beginners go in and they think a story is just a bunch of stuff that happened. They look for things that they found interesting in their daily lives and they start writing a story, right? They have no concept of setup and payoff. They have no concept of, okay, I need to structure a scene so people are invested in the outcome of whatever is happening here. Yeah. None of this is set up in the show. Like, why do I care that the Jedi killed everybody? I don't give a fuck. You give me no reason to care.
Right.
I don't even know if these people are good or bad. For all I know, that they're raising these twins to fucking sacrifice them to their blood god. Yes. Maybe they deserved it.
The Jedi were right. Those witches should have all been slaughtered, okay?
But look, if you don't know, you don't know. It's a difference between murder and self-defense. You have to know the details. I'm just watching someone die on screen. I don't fucking know.
It turns out that those kids, the twins, were not actually conceived of by the Force, okay? When they said there's no father, what they mean is they murdered a family and stole those children.
Oh, they meant conceived by Force.
Yes, exactly. No, they got them by force. Yeah, exactly. They just murdered a normal, innocent family. They stole their children. They're raising them for part of their wacky cult. The Jedi are like, oh my God, we have an Amber Alert. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, we found the kids. I want to see where the Jedi pulls out like the space milk box, the blue space milk box. So there's the Osha and May's picture on it, like twins stolen by crazy cult.
Yeah. Oh. This show is so bad. Like who are the good guys and bad guys? Who knows?
Who knows? We don't know.
Why am I interested then?
I don't know. It's so strange. It's so weird. Obscure Satellites in Flight, thanks so much for the 10 Aussie bucks. Says the Critical Drinker is both the most overrated and most misrepresented movie reviewer of all time. Congrats, I guess.
Oh, I love Critical Drinker. I don't think he's overrated at all. I think his stuff is amazing.
I like him a lot too, but it's like, it's weird that, I mean, I guess not weird. I think he gets the hate just because he's so big. Because it's not like he's not saying anything that is like that controversial.
Incendiary. Yeah, exactly. He's not a bomb thrower at all.
No. I mean, he's like a bomb thrower in terms of like, he's saying things that are
true and that honest.
Are true, right? Yeah.
That's not throwing bombs. Come on.
I guess. So, I want to point out, hold on. So on Sunday, and I didn't see it, like it only showed up after stream. So I want to point out, Joshua asked to have his GoFundMe like linked. So I want to link that now. I want to put that in the chat.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I looked for it while the stream was going and I couldn't find it. So
yeah, I didn't find it either. Yeah, his wife has severe pancreatitis. Is that how you say that?
Pancreatitis?
Pancreatitis. Right. And so they're asking for help. So I put the link in the chat if anyone wants to help donate.
Now this is so strange. Star Wars The Acolyte, 84% critics, 14% audience. What's happening here? Why? That makes absolutely no sense to me. Seems like something fishy's going on.
I'm sorry, what did you say? I was distracted.
The Acolyte has a critic score on Rotten Tomatoes of 84% and an audience score of 14%. 14? Like, what?
Yeah. That's because the reviewers are too scared to criticize it.
Yeah. It just screams somebody's lying. Why are you lying?
Somebody is lying. Cameraman 502 for $5 says, has anyone noticed the sudden use of media literacy as a defense against toxic fans hating on the Acolyte? I guess they found their new buzzword. Yeah, I mean, they've been using media literacy for a while now. I can, like, 99% of the people that throw out the term media literacy as anything other than a joke are like really weird far left, like brain rot Twitter accounts or YouTubers who are trying to defend their beloved series because it has some political agenda in it or something.
How about writing literacy? Look, this is textbook tokenism. I actually feel sorry for the actors, especially like they hired this Squid Game guy. He can't even fucking speak English, which makes sense. I mean, if you're going to hire someone to write your script that can't even write a fucking script, you're obviously going to hire actors that don't even speak the language you're making the movie in. So, but
well, to be fair, he did learn English. Yeah, how
oh
much
yeah,
is this, like,
yeah. Look, guess what? Guess who's learning writing? The fucking Acolyte showrunner.
Right. You have this guy, okay? He goes to the trouble to learn English to be in an American TV show. He's Korean, and it happens to be for like this schlock, this trash, this garbage.
Yeah, look, this is textbook tokenism. This is like
Yeah.
we're gonna use black people and marginalized black people, gay people, trans. We're gonna use them as a shield for our incompetence. How is that not textbook tokenism, Sitch?
It is. It's
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
It's fucking evil. It's using marginalized people in superfluous roles to protect the establishment.
Well,
Fucking exactly what's happening here.
I think that that's part of the thought process from the executives. I think with Leslie Headland, you know, she's like, I'm a female queer, okay? I'm gonna like she's like completely ideologically buys into all of this. And so I think from a non-cynical perspective, she's like she wants to shove in as much, you know, quote diversity into the show as possible, but she just can't write.
Yeah, she
She's
has
an idiot.
no concept of setup and payoff.
No.
I'm curious if I haven't seen any of her other stuff, and I do know obviously this kind of project you're going to have a lot of voices that may be able to override whoever is, you know, technically in charge. So
Mhm.
if we go back and look at something Headland has done, and it's obvious she understands setup and payoff and all that, all those writing basics, I'm going to think, okay, well, Kathleen Kennedy or this Kevin guy probably, you know, she might have crafted a decent script or an arc, and they just came in and were like, no, we need to change this and this and this and this. And pretty soon, you know, the producers get involved and it's just a piece of shit. The writers completely check out. They're like, okay.
Well, I mean, it's possible. I'm skeptical just because it's like if it was good on other levels and it was just the writing was bad, you'd be like, maybe. But it seems like it's bad on all levels. So the acting is bad, which means which the directing is bad. And then you have the cinematography is really bad too. Because just like in your mind, you can kind of picture shots from House of Dragon. You know, I've never been like a huge House of Dragon fan. You look at it and it looks like it's very well shot. And the costumes are very well made. The sets are designed very well. The lighting is very good. Everything it looks very like epic. Everything looks epic. Everything looks real. It looks like high quality. And then you look at the Acolyte, which has a budget that's $60 million more than House of the Dragon, and it looks like a made-for-TV movie from like the 90s in terms of the costume, in terms of like the framing of the shots, like everything just looks like cheap. The sets look, everything looks bad.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so to me, if everything, like every element of it is bad, then it's like, okay, that makes me think, you know, there wasn't just the executive producer meddling. The whoever's, you know, heading this project is just incompetent.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, look. I don't know. I don't know her. I'm looking at her IMDb and it looks like all she has is television series, so and I'm not going to watch a fucking entire television series to find out if this person knows what they're doing. Look, and they're not she's executive producer on this single drunk female. So she's not even the writer.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess who cares? They don't know how to write.
No. Landendorf for 16 months says Drinker's criticism is, quote, you guys care too much about race, gender, sexuality, which they misrepresent as I care too much about race, gender, sexuality. True.
Yes.
True, yeah.
Exactly.
Historical amnesia / Bradley Gearhart for $5. Thank you. Says, so tired of self-proclaimed communists constantly telling me to just consume product and not ask questions. The irony. I know. What the hell's going on there? These are the people that are supposed to be skeptical of corporate power and yet they just rush to defend it. You just rush to defend it. And it was the same thing. It was like on Sunday when we were watching the Jose video. They do this like talking out both sides of their mouth thing, where they simultaneously attack people for criticizing this consumer slop project or product that they just put out there, that they crap out there. And then on the other hand, they're like, oh, but you should really be criticizing it because it's capitalism.
Right.
It's like, go fuck yourself.
The problem is they only make stuff to appeal to a wide audience.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even when they don't.
Jimmy Entertainment for $5 says, using my amazing psychic powers in combination with my supremely mediocre writing abilities, I have destroyed Star Wars. It was me this whole time. I believe that.
Sweet.
I believe that. Yeah, that's true.
The power of many.
Listen, for as bad, look, I have a problem. Okay. Now you don't like when I say Schadenfreude because you say Sitch, you're using the word incorrectly.
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. And you could be right.
Shat on Freud.
Yeah. And you could be right. But I have something wrong with me. Okay. I have a deep, dark pit inside my chest where my heart and soul should be. And because of that, I love hating things. All right. I love it. I love to be a hater. So I love to watch crap. I love to watch horrible, horrible crap and then complain about it. I love to hate. I'm like a Sith. Feed me your hatred. So I love. Cool. Listen, I'm happy. I'm happy that Star Wars Acolyte exists so I can watch it and feed the hatred.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited for the pronouns. I can't wait to cringe right out of my seat. Oh my God, they're so inept. They're so incompetent.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that we will forever have this meme, okay, of the power of one, the power of many. We'll forever have this horrible cringe that we can point to that could be such a delicious, juicy meme that will feed my hatred.
It's up there with the SJW scream. I mean, it's that cringy.
It is the fiction media version of the girl screaming when Trump won. Yeah. I felt bad for that girl. Oh my God.
Why?
Yeah, I hope she's like not recognizable. I hope she changed her entire appearance.
Oh, she looks
oh, it's you. It's the screen.
She looks exactly the same. I brought it up on stream before.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
She looks exactly the same.
Yeah, it's her.
That's a mistake. She should change her entire look.
You can totally spot her in a crowd.
To change her entire look.
God. Oh, look, it's the Scream Girl.
The Screaming Girl. Terrible. Patrick Mulligan for 5 Canadian says, you guys got me to start watching Destiny. Take responsibility and have him on to discuss him misrepresenting you last year. Feed me content.
Patrick was the one who was, he super chatted last time about us talking to Destiny again. Everyone's talking like, the context with Destiny is always the bridge burning, right? The bridge burning. When was the bridge built? What is our connection with Destiny?
We don't have one.
We did a live stream with him almost a fucking year ago, okay?
Right.
Let it go, guys.
Yeah, let it go. Like Elsa.
Yeah, exactly.
Let it go.
Mike Zero did the he said that the Power of Many song was inspired by Frozen. But maybe that's bullshit. I don't know.
Wait. He said that
he said that the Power of Many song that they shoehorned into episode 3 was literally inspired by Frozen. That Leslie Headland said this.
Wait. He said that the Power of 1, the Power of 2 chant in Acolyte.
Yes, was like a musical number that was inspired by Frozen, and that's why she put it in there.
It has nothing to do with it, though.
Well, look, Mike Zero.
I don't know. Like
I've got a head full of Mike Zero lies now. Jesus.
Okay. Is it zero for zero sources or something? I don't know. Like it is. Like there was a line that I read from Leslie Headley where she said in some article or something that she pitched Star Wars Acolyte as like, I'm trying to remember, it was like a combination of Frozen and like a detective show or something. I don't know. So she did pitch it, supposedly, rumor is, according to some articles, that she pitched it to the Disney execs as like a Star Wars Frozen thing. So maybe that's where he came up with this idea, but Oh, you're right. Yeah, thank you, Herman. I read it was mix of Frozen and Kill Bill. Right, right.
That was
So
but you actually read that in an article. It wasn't a Mike Zero article, was it?
no, it wasn't a mic.
Oh,
I don't
thank
think it
God.
was. I had to go back to make sure. So
We're in big trouble if that's the
I
case.
know.
God. Go ahead.
Frozen and
What's up?
Breaking Bad. I think she said both. I think she said both. So I don't even see where. Well, it's weird because I don't like she said that, but I don't even see where's the like the only Frozen element that exists in the show is that it's a show about sisters. That's the only connection. It has not like the plot and themes of Frozen are nowhere to be found in this fucking mess. So
the only tangible goal in the series is to kill the 4 Jedi, right?
yeah,
Without knowing why she wants. Without knowing why she wants. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the goal is to protect those Jedi from being killed, right? From the main character's perspective.
Okay.
Well, actually, you're right. No, it's not. She doesn't have a goal. Her goal is she doesn't have a goal.
Yeah, exactly. That's my whole point. She has no goal. Right. Yeah. The main character has no goal. Okay. Mm-hmm. The only character with a goal is May, whose goal is to kill the 4 Jedi. Without knowing why the fuck she wants to kill the 4 Jedi, how am I supposed to be invested in that goal? Like, is she doing it for a good reason or a bad reason? Because I'm against her if she's doing it for a bad reason. I'm in favor of it if she's doing it for a good reason, right? But I have to know that to be invested. This is such bullshit. I don't know if she's a fucking serial killer or if she's totally justified in what she's doing.
What Leslie Headley should have done, okay? She should have taken out. She could even kept the stupid twin sister reveal. I mean, I think Dude, any sort of like twin reveal all is that retarded, shit out. Right? But she should have basically just tried to copy Silence of the Lambs, but with Star Wars.
Right.
Okay. You have a person who's killing Jedi, and she is trying to figure out why. And you can. And here's the thing: you can have a plot like a mystery plot where someone is killing people, and you don't know why they're killing it, as long as the main character has like a personality and their own goals and their own motivations that you understand, and they're trying to discover the killer's motivation. Like that's fine, you can do that, but there has to be something for us to latch onto.
Yes, then her goal is literally to solve the mystery, which is every fucking mystery ever made. It's like very basic. Okay.
How did Leslie Headley write a murder mystery where the murder mystery is not the goal of the fucking hero to solve?
This is this is such amateur writing. This is like amateur writing hour.
Oh my God.
All they care about is if you're gay, you get a job at Star Wars.
That would be cool though. Like this idea of someone's killing Jedi and they're killing them in these like crazy, like inventive, creative ways to get around the Jedi's powers. And so like you literally just rip off Silence of the Lambs. So some young Padawan for some contrived reason has to like talk to some like crazy, like Sith guy or something who did something similar, and he could like probably give insight on these killings.
You can just rip off Silence of the Lambs and gender swap it. You can have a white male protagonist.
Yes, or you just have some evil Sith chick that she killed a bunch of Jedi, and she's in some crazy like Force prison somewhere because they don't kill her for some ridiculous reason or something. You just literally just rip off Silence of the Lambs, put it in Star Wars. It would be 1,000 times better than this trash. Okay.
Yeah, because it would actually have like setup and payoff and plot and character development. And
it writes its fucking self. You have like the Jedi are trying to investigate the murder. No one can figure out like how they're killing the Jedi, how they plan to kill the Jedi in the future, how to stop it, why they're killing the Jedi. And then there's like a young Padawan who's like a renegade. They're like, well, let me ask the Sith. And I was like, you can't talk to the Sith. They're evil. They're crazy. You can't talk to them. And so they're like risking their entire Jedi career talking to this Sith lady to try to see if they can help solve the case. So it's like a classic cop thing. It's like, your badge is on the line if you don't solve this murder, right? It writes itself. It's so simple.
It's the best. Yeah, look, and you could dive into the Sith lore as well. Like you've got an incarcerated Sith that the Jedi are holding. I mean, it's fucking amazing. It's like 1,000 times better.
Yes.
Yeah, but you would have to have like a functioning brain to be able to realize how good this is. They
It's
would
weird.
be if you pitched this to them, such they'd be like, but where are the pronouns? How do we?
You could make the main character a non-binary, queer, gender, whatever. Okay,
Look, it's
that's
silence.
fine.
It's
I mean, it's
silence.
stupid, but it's fine. You can still do it.
It's Silence of the Lambs. I mean, isn't the killer transgender?
Well, obviously they're okay. They're not going to have that element of Silence of the Lambs, right? That's way too transphobic.
Really?
So
Why not?
the killer is like killing Jedi. Oh, that would be hilarious. The killer is killing Jedi because they wanted to be a Jedi and they weren't allowed. So they feel like, well, if I can fashion a suit of Jedi and wear it, that'll make me a
Oh
Jedi.
my
That's a little too on the nose. Okay, that's a little too on the nose.
No, I think you got to go with it. I think
No.
that's amazing.
Hey, listen, you
Come in
can
and
like,
he's like in a Jedi. He's got like a Luke Skywalker mask.
oh my god, that's terrible.
It's made from his face.
Listen, when I said rip off Sons of the Lambs, I just meant like thematically and like the general plot. I didn't mean to like
No,
literally
it's already
take
it's
the
already been
entire
done.
story.
It's already been done. It's too late.
Too late. Okay, I do like that. I do like that. My pronouns are Jedi.
Jedi.
There you go.
Wow.
Guru Ralph for 23 months says, I trust the opinion of Critical Drinker and Gary over any of the other quote critics who gave this a high score. I'm not interested in seeing it at all. It's really weird. There's like a total, like back in the day, before the internet, you would open up this thing. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called the newspaper.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Okay.
I remember calling the movie theater recorded message to find
To
out
get the
when
times.
Yeah.
Yes.
When does this
Yes.
movie start? I want to go there.
Yeah, if you wanted to see a movie, you had to open the fucking newspaper. And I remember because like the movie times would always be on the page next to the comics.
Oh yeah.
So I'd read the comics and then I look at the movie times. And so, but besides just looking at the movie times, there's also reviewers. Okay, you had your Siskel and Ebert, you'd have your national reviewer, and then you had your local reviewer. And that was like the only way really to see people reviewing movies, to try to get like a judgment about the movie if you didn't know someone that like saw it. And now, and it's very interesting. So there's like kind of like more of a consensus on like the reviewer's version or what they thought about the movie. And even if you disagree with it, you kind of get a sense of like, oh, I have taste that align with this reviewer. I don't. And it didn't seem like it was like politically motivated or anything like that. It just seemed like people had different tastes in movies. And now it's so fascinating because now that we have the internet, and you have like a million amateur TV and movie reviewers, it's weird to see how utterly disconnected the amateur like YouTube internet reviewer is from all the quote professional outlet reviewers. They're so disconnected from each other. Even when they both like something or hate something, the reasons why they like or hate seem to be so disconnected.
Interesting. Yeah. I haven't really noticed that because I haven't read really any reviews by these mainstream critics.
Well, and it makes me wonder, like, were the reviewers always that bad and we just didn't know it because there was nothing to compare it to? Or is it just there's something different going on here?
Yeah, interesting question. I don't think storytelling has really changed that much because how you interest audiences in a story, in a plot, in a character arc hasn't really changed much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unless it's a strong woman.
Look, nobody cares about the whole strong woman thing. Obviously, you got Clarice is a strong woman. Is she not? Silence of the Lambs. When did that fucking movie come out? You got Clarice, Jodie Foster, as a strong, independent woman in a male-dominated field, law enforcement. Yep. I mean, that's a social justice movie. I mean, minus the trans stuff. That's a social justice movie.
She's saving women from being killed by a man.
Clarice. Yeah, of course.
Though she does have to rely on the help of a man. So
right. But he is a terrible person. Okay. He's literally a cannibal.
Just because he eats people doesn't mean that we should judge him. Okay. He's a very complicated character who eats people.
Hate him because he's a straight white male, not because he's a cannibal, right?
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a good point.
Look, we can't judge. We can't judge people's culture here. Some people, they fucking eat people, okay? But if he is a straight white male, we know he's part of the patriarchy, so then we can judge.
And even going back to what we were talking about Sunday, Clarice is an interesting character because she definitely would hit some of the notes of like, quote, the annoying strong woman character, because for most of the movie, she is very stoic, doesn't like have a lot of emotion in anything. But the reason she doesn't come off that way is because there's still moments in the movie where she like that breaks like it would in a normal character, and you see like inside what's going on, and you get to see why she acts stoic. And it's because there's a scene where she's traumatized, where she's telling Lecter about her trauma with the lambs, which is why the movie is named the way it is. There's this scene where she's in the house when it's dark. And it's like, she's like really scared and everything. And you're the audience really fucking scared that she's in this house alone with the fucking serial killer. And he's got like the night vision goggles on.
Yeah. Buffalo Bill stalking her.
Yes.
Yeah.
So see, that's the way you do it. If you want to have your stoic female character, that's fine. But you got to show us why she's like that. Like what trauma led her to be like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You could substitute in that Silence of the Lambs scene with Ray's backstory. I was abandoned by my parents on a planet all by myself.
Yes.
Or was forced to scavenge for food and had no friends. People tried to sell me into slavery.
Yep.
But instead, she's like, oh, no big deal. I can pilot the Millennium Falcon. I've not been struggling my entire life to survive.
I can use the Force to mind control someone after the second attempt.
I'm just a plucky Zoomer.
That was so, I remember watching that movie in theaters, and she tries to mind control the stormtrooper, and he's like, shut the fuck up. And I was like, that's hilarious. I was like, okay. I was like, that was a good scene. That was well written. And then she immediately just does it again and it works. I was like, what? Are you kidding me?
Oh, wow. I don't remember anything of that movie. I tried to block it out.
Yep. PC for $5 says, yeah, the reviewers should provide constructive feedback so that the producers and writers can continue to ignore it. Well, that's fair. That's fair. C.S. Pappy for $5 says, they changed blood in cheese because children can't act. And an awake 3-year-old picking his nose would take you out of the scene more. I don't agree. I've seen tons of movies and television shows where, I mean, you could age the kids up a little bit if you needed to, but where you have kids that are like, all they have to do is look scared as a guy's like threatening to cut their head off. I've seen plenty of times that little kids are in movies and TV where they do that. So, and you wouldn't even have to show it that much. You only have to show them looking scared for like literally a second. And then the rest of the shots are just like the blood and cheese's faces and the mom's faces. Like you don't even need to show, like the kids can't act. Don't even need to show it that much. So like we, the audience, would be able to, project our feelings of a mother having to choose what child dies.
Yeah, or CGI that shit. But look, take the kids out.
That's true. That's true. Now that you can do them. Sketch for $10 says, funny how the witches tell the kids to lie to the Jedi to get what they want. Sounds like someone on the writing team watched PT's video about getting prescribed HRT to come up with that one. Oh my God.
Oh, that's so good and bad at the same time.
How dare you, Sketch?
I just, that's something that completely stands. Well, I guess that's why this show sucks, because I don't know if these people are good or bad, and I'm not invested in following around people who fucking suck. So they failed their mission of making me interested in these characters from the get-go.
Right. Obscure Satellites in Flight for $5 Aussie bucks says, please bury the hatchet with Destiny. You guys are stronger together than you are apart. Liberalism gang, rise up. Why is there all this like wanting us to,
for $50 too? That's crazy.
I mean, I appreciate it, but why is there such like a push for us to like hang out with Destiny recently?
I mean, Destiny's like a huge celebrity. We've got like, I mean, we're just a couple of guys that like to talk shit on the internet. So I don't understand. And like we engage with Destiny and we always lose because we're not going in there as like this is a knife fight. And I don't want to be in a knife fight. I'm like, I don't want to be content mined by Destiny. So I mean, it is what it is. Why? Look, Sitch and I like to chill. We like to chill and talk, just talk about stuff. We like to get to a better understanding of things without worrying about our internet reputations. So and Destiny's audience is like they're mostly interested in just like destroying people. So yeah, it's not fun. So whatever.
Mr. Ubercross Esquire for $20. Thank you so much, Mr. Ubercross. Says Adam, if I'm correct, a script is roughly 1 minute to 1 page. I've never written a script, and I feel confident I could write a better 45-page first episode. I'll buy Save the Cat and knock it out this week.
Look, one of the brilliant things, and someone asked me about what I would recommend, and I did recommend reading Save the Cat. Save the Cat, and I was here in Hollywood when Save the Cat got published, and it was kind of like a revolutionary thing. You couldn't walk into a meeting at a studio without the producer mentioning Save the Cat, because a lot before Save the Cat, there were a lot of screenwriting books that producers would try to read, and they were all kind of heady and, very, very just deep and hard to, very dense, hard to get through type affairs. And Save the Cat came out and it completely just demystified movie making for producers. So producers love that book. Producers would recommend that book to their writers. All of a sudden producers felt like they could have a handle. There wasn't this mystery between what the writers were turning in. Well, obviously you read a script and like any normal person can read a script and go, oh my God, I'm interested in this. This is great. Right. But a lot of times it's difficult to know, why am I interested in this, to deconstruct it. And Save the Cat really solved that problem. So producers could go into meetings and they could talk intelligently about scripts that they'd read. They wouldn't just be able to say, oh, this is great, I love this, I want to greenlight this project. They'd be able to say why they love it and why they want to greenlight the project and like where it succeeds and where it fails and where there's room for improvement. So that book completely kind of transformed everything. Sitch, I don't know if you've read this book, but
I haven't, no.
Yeah, one of the things that he says in there, like he talks a lot about log lines, and he says something that is, I mean, it's pretty accurate. Obviously, you can always find edge cases, but he's like, irony is what makes a story work. And it's something that I kind of look for in stories. And he argues that, kind of the reason why we're interested in things, even just like in news reports, is because there's some sort of ironic component to it. It's like, you get these stories about kids being cooked in the car because the parents left them in there too long, right? It's ironic because obviously the parent is supposed to care. They're supposed to be caring for the children more than anyone, right? So a parent like killing their own child, there's irony there. Like a lion tamer that's like eaten by a lion. I mean, that's ironic, right? So I kind of look for that. And if you're writing a story, Mr. Ubercross, take this to heart, because this is what's going to make your weekend writing project sell. If you can incorporate some sort of irony in your story, I just think it's so much better. It has it generates so much interest and has such a better chance of creating interest for people.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
So I look for that in a lot of stories. Is there any irony in the Acolyte? I mean, some in that it's like a apprentice killing the master, right? There's some irony,
but it's not, because it's their evil twin sister who's never been raised by Jedi at all.
Oh, look, they took the irony right out of it. Well, that's great.
I mean, it's ironic that it's not ironic that it's shit, because that's expected, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And also, it's like 1 minute is a page, but it's not. It's in the script writing format, which is very different than normal writing format. So
yes, yeah. Screenplay
gonna say?
format, which is mostly what I've always written in. It's kind of
Oh,
weird to be doing scripts.
I was going to ask you. So you have a lot. I'm assuming you have a lot more experience, like talking to like random producers than I've had. But whenever I've like interacted with producers in my
Mhm.
limited capacity, it's really weird. They all seem like the same type of person, and it's like
Right.
they're like very excitable hype people who like hype up shit. And I just talk to them, and I feel like they have no concept of like reality or anything.
I
Like in
mean,
regards to storytelling, I'm like, what the fuck?
it really depends. I mean, it depends on whether or not they're hyped for the project. There is like that seller's mode where you're in there basically trying to promote for talent, like you're trying to hire talent. So you turn on
Hmm.
the charm and get super amped. But yeah, no, I mean, there's a constant joke about how, producers always fuck things up. But I mean, usually
Hmm.
that's generally from a writer's perspective. And for me, I always thought like the Save the Cat was always, I thought the addition of the Save the Cat to the producer's lexicon was good, because then they actually had some chance of making things better, not worse.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
understanding. Yeah. Well, it's
I mean,
interesting because like
go ahead.
it's hard. I don't want to say it's like something you learn because again,
Hmm.
the writers of Game of Thrones like have like master's degree in writing and they fucking produce such trash once they ran out of source material. So who knows? But it's interesting. There's a certain way of like thinking about story that you have to, I think, have when you're writing stuff, and you can get these situations where people end up working on projects or heading projects. They don't have that like way of thinking about story, and it becomes very apparent. And I think the two big examples are the creators of the Avatar: The Last Airbender show, who they seemingly relied very heavily on their head writer, which is fine, to sort of flesh out their ideas. And then when they made their sequel spinoff series Korra without the head writer, and they were just trying to do the writing themselves, or mainly do the writing themselves, it just was like a trash fire because they didn't really understand how to flesh out story or the world or the characters. And it became more clear like they're just people that have like good ideas, but they don't know how to stitch them together in any way that's good or enjoyable. And I think George Lucas is kind of the same way. He's really good at like producing a bunch of ideas in a world, but he doesn't have like the writer brain to stitch them all together. And he needs someone else to do that process. And it's the same thing with like the Acolyte. It's just the person's obviously not thinking about the story in any sort of writing perspective.
Yeah, there's a like different people are good at different things. Like there were writers in the writers lab, the Deadline Junkies writers lab, that were just, I mean, they were masters at dialogue. Like their
Yeah.
dialogue was just, I mean, they could write anything and you were just like, oh my God, this is just fucking amazing dialogue, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, maybe they're not so good at storytelling or story ideas, or even picking what type of topics will interest people.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I mean, in you can always bring people in to like punch up your dialogue once you have some solid script or story. A
Right.
lot of producers actually do that. Like they have writers that they just bring in to punch up dialogue. Um, but yeah, there's multiple levels going on, obviously, because there is like you can come up with a great idea for a storyline and then just not really be able to execute it. And I don't know the situation with season 8 Game of Thrones, but like if you give the most competent writer in the world, 2 days to write a script,
Sure. If it's
it's
rushed or
going to be
something. Yeah.
trash. Yeah, it's going to
Right.
be, it's like so much of writing is rewriting. You got to basically work out what the pieces are that are like what pieces of information are necessary to really get the most out of this scene. Like a lot of beginning writers too, they don't even realize like scenes turn. Like every scene, to keep people engaged, there has to be new information or some new action that happens in every single scene. This is why The Acolyte is such fucking trash. Like you pointed out that one scene where I don't know if it's May or Osha, but she goes out and the Wookiee Jedi, whatever, is like working on their motorcycle or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she just like looks and then turns around and walks back in. It's like, what? Why is this in here? What is this about? What is this? What is the purpose of this scene, right? Scenes turn on action or revelation. What's the revelation in that scene?
She walks up, she's like, hello, and it goes, and then she walks away, and you're like, what the fuck was the like,
Yeah.
what just happened?
So look, any competent writer will go through, like, you're basically, all scenes are kind of like pitches. You're kind of trying to feel your way to what is the important thrust of the story here in the beginning. And you'll go through and you'll be like, well, this scene, doesn't really give us any information, doesn't really move the story forward in a climactic way. It's like, why is this in here? This is not really part of the story. This is not really important to the story. This is like the entire Acolyte.
Yeah.
It's like the very beginning when we're introduced to Osha. The whole purpose of that scene where, we meet her on the spaceship or whatever, and the guy comes up and asks her, what did you do last night? And she basically says, it's none of your business. The whole purpose of that scene is to misdirect us into believing that she was out killing Jedi last night.
Right.
When she wasn't out killing Jedi last night, so that becomes moot later on. But it doesn't give us any other information about her. What, she's a private person? Is that something that we're supposed to, is that important at this point in the story, such that she's a private person?
No.
Nothing in that
scene. Is it important
scene.
that she has a tattoo?
Well, that's in episode 2. So
yeah, but is that important to the story?
No. Yeah. See, same thing. There is absolutely nothing. There's a whole first scene. The first scene when you meet the protagonist, the goal of that scene is to make us love that person, be invested in whatever their goal in life is or their goal in the story is. So they don't give us any goal in the story. It's fucking exposition. It's just she's a mechanic.
Well, what is there's an entire scene where she gets they put her on a prison ship instead of just taking her back to Coruscant themselves for no reason. They put her on a prison ship. The prisoners are like, we're going to break out of here. Join us. And she's like, no, I'm innocent. And they're like, okay, we'll leave you to die then. They break out. She crashes on the ice planet. The next scene, all those prisoners are immediately recaptured off screen by the Jedi. And they use their Jedi powers to derive that Osha is a good girl who didn't do anything wrong by reading their mind. They go to the frozen planet, and then the Jedi Master guy's like, I can instantly tell for no reason that Osha is innocent and that her twin sister did all the killing. And they go and find her, and she's like, oh no, I'm innocent. And then they say, oh, you're innocent. And that's the end of the episode. And you're like, what was the point of that entire prison crashing on the planet scene? What was the point of any of that?
I can tell you what I think the point was, and it's bad. It's still horrible, but you can tell this is like the Save the Cat scene in the in the movie. Like, the whole idea behind Save the Cat is that your protagonist needs to do something that the audience likes so that they're willing to follow them. And Blake Snyder pitches saving a cat, like the protagonist saves a cat.
So her saving the murderer from dying is what's supposed to make us like her?
Yes. So her saving, and this is why it's such a fuck up, because, like, again, the biggest problem in the show is we don't have enough information to make any sort of assessment of what's going on in the scene, right? So this guy in the scene, I don't know if he's a fucking pedophile she's saving, right?
They
I
say
don't know
he's a
if
violent criminal. He's so violent, they have to put an alien on him that puts him into like a coma.
Yeah, yeah. So look, I don't know if he's like raping and killing women. I have no idea. And she fucking saves him. I mean, she's not saving a cat or a dog or something that's perceived as innocent, right?
Right.
She's saving a murderer. So look, you failed again, Leslie. How am I supposed to like this woman?
I know.
Like, look, That's the guy that just murdered my mom, and you're letting him go. What a fucking bitch. I hate this woman.
Well, and also it ruins the mystery too, because when you're watching the first episode, you're like, okay, did she kill the Jedi? You don't know. Like, you don't know as an audience member in the first episode. And she's like hallucinating visions of her sister, and you're like, oh, she she have like a split personality. Is she crazy? She being manipulated. Like I don't know, but all that mystery is ruined because it's like, oh, look how good she is, right? She's literally saving a violent criminal at the detriment of her own life. So obviously she didn't kill the Jedi because she's like, they're just saying how good she is, how nice she is.
Yeah, it's pointless.
So
it's totally
so they just ruin, like they keep undermining their own mystery. It's very strange. I feel like when I'm watching The Acolyte, I bet they'll do it again in this next episode. They keep doing like a setup and then they undermine it intentionally because they feel like that the setup was too cliche, so that they're doing a like, what a twist, Last Jedi, like we're going to just subvert the trope by undermining the conflict and removing the conflict and the mystery. It's like, well, then there's nothing there. Like, congratulations.
Yeah, conflict drives the story. The reason people watch sports is because there's a fucking conflict. Like, one team is going to walk away winners and one team is going to walk away losers. There's fucking no conflict. Look, I don't know what game they're playing. I don't know how they win. This is why I'm always telling you about tangible goals.
Right.
Like tangible goals let me know what's going on in the script, what's going on in the story, where we are. Well, we're 3 episodes in. There is no tangible goal.
Yeah, I think it's like you need to have. It's kind of like when you're playing like a video game, even if it's an open world video game. Like you kind of, it helps the narrative and helps people like structure in their mind if there's still like a goal you're going towards, as opposed to just dumping someone out in a world and you're just like, fucking go at it, right? Which, I mean, it can still be fun, but it's still, in my mind, especially for someone who's more like narrative driven, like to have something to latch onto that you're like, okay, I'm progressing towards this thing. And I think you need that in a story too, for most audiences to like latch on the story, say like, okay, this is the goal, this is what they're progressing towards. So I can kind of in my mind like see like, are they moving towards that, or are they getting pushed back by some sort of like antagonistic force? And without that, you're just like kind of like meandering around. Everything's just kind of vague and slow.
Somebody in the comments said that in the New Republic ancillary Star Wars materials, that it's common knowledge the Jedi are the only ones that are allowed to teach people via the Force, and that other people, like, it's prohibited from other people doing it. If that's the case, that adds conflict to this story.
Right.
Why not put that information in episode 1, Sitch?
Or put it in the flashback. Like, that scene is so poorly written. It's crazy to me. Like, when the Jedi show up and they have the conflict with the lesbian coven, okay, that's the scene where like they should explain what the conflict is. Right?
Yes.
Why they're running away from the Jedi, why they're hiding from the Jedi. Like, why don't the Jedi be like in a normal movie written by normal humans, they'd be like, we heard that there's children here, and that under Republican law that, only the Jedi can, train children in the ways of the Force. And then we'll just go like, your oppressive, use of the Force is, the Force isn't just for you. The Force is for everybody. We should be able to train ourselves. And the Jedi fire back like in a time where, of chaos, where people use the Force left and right, that's how the Sith came, in control, and people were using the Force for evil purposes. Like, you have them argue about whatever the fuck the philosophy is that's creating the conflict in the first place, so we, the audience, understand what's going on. And it's interesting because we're like, oh, some kind of moral quandary here that's kind of interesting to listen to.
Well, and we can take sides. We're with the hero and we're against the fucking villain.
Right. Right. Or yes. Or you could be like, oh, look, both sides have kind of like good points. Both sides have flaws, right? Make it, if you want to make it morally gray or whatever, but there has to be something. And then it's so clear to me that the writers were too lazy to like conceptualize any of this. Well, either A, we're too lazy to, or B, it's possible that Disney Star Wars is like, you're not allowed to even discuss the lore because they don't even want anyone to know for some fucked up reason or something. But either way, so it's just like vague and nonsense. We have no clue why these people are in conflict with the Jedi.
Look, if you're not allowed to make that story, just do a completely different story. Just
Exactly.
do
Yeah,
like
just do a
some
different story.
adventure, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Pull a Star Trek, right? They pull up on some alien world and solve a mystery.
Right.
Done.
Right.
Yeah. So bad. Anyway, I think the writers are just incompetent. I think they're completely incompetent. Although I do know we have had a lot of writers in Deadline Junkies who have complained about, who are very competent writers. Like I've seen them write a bunch of really great stuff, but then they sell something and then all of a sudden everything they've done is rewritten by somebody else. And
Yep.
pretty soon it's like just a shadow of what it once was.
Well, that's crazy too, because I know someone that happened to, and
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like, it's like, and their name is still associated with the project, and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
that
Yeah.
sucks for them. Like their whole thing got like butchered, and now they're associated with this stinker.
Well, this is why the Alan Smithy came in. You know
Right.
about that?
Yeah. It's a fake name that they use for things that are embarrassing.
Alan Smithy is the name that they use on projects when whoever the real person is just wants their name taken off of it. It's like,
Right.
don't credit me, please. Yes. All right. Are we done or
No?
This was a great show. Great show, guy.
Deej Nuts for $5. Thank you so much. Says I miss being there live for the prawn stream. The obvious solution is to make the sale illegal. Most problematic aspects of porn go bye-bye. # free the boob. Is it though? Because I mean, listen, I don't know if any of this has been studied. I would imagine most people that look at porn and that consume porn are doing it for free and not paying for it. I'd imagine, especially anyone underage. So.
Oh yeah.
Hentai OG Tai Toku 310 for $10 says, what do you guys think about the Boys season 4 political stuff that's everyone's talking about? So I watched season 1 of the Boys and I thought it was interesting. And then I started watching season 2 and I don't know, I just got like bored with it. I felt like a lot of the interest and conflict somehow like got drained out of it in the first couple episodes. Once like some of the main plot threads were resolved in season 1, and I kind of fell off. And now I saw that there was some like interview or some clip of the creator saying that like Homelander is supposed to be an analogy for Donald Trump, like fascism taking over America. And I'm like, what the fuck? Really?
I guess we might have to check in with season 4 of the Boys.
I was like, oh, why would you do that? Why the fuck? And then there was some line about like critical superhero theory, and it's just like so on the nose, so pathetically lame. It's unfortunate because I can understand like these people who, these like older, moderate liberals probably who are just so in a bubble. They have no fucking clue what's going on in the world. They have no fucking clue what's going on with the political situation right now. And they're just kind of like regurgitating nonsense they've read from the New York Times, the Washington Post, and for no reason shove it into the Boys, which I don't know. Like,
how can they not know that's going to piss off half of their audience, though?
They don't care, I guess.
Okay.
See, but that's what's weird. Like, there used to be a time where executives would be like the people telling the showrunners, don't put a bunch of shit in to like piss off the audience. Don't put in like overly political themes into your TV show for no reason. It's not even necessary, right? And now it seems like that's all just gone away and they just let them do whatever the fuck like crap they want for no reason. Like The Boys doesn't have to be a political show. It's not an inherently political concept or storyline. At least season 1 wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of super interesting themes revolving around the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Revenge, superheroes existing in this like, darker, more gritty, realistic world.
Absolute
superheroes kind of operating
corrupts.
as like corporate entities and stuff. I mean, I guess you could say it's like political because like corporation's bad, I guess, but like far more vague or generalized than like this is supposed to be Donald Trump. Like, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Ochacy for $5 says, Adam, if you can't figure out if the diverse woman is doing something for a good or bad reason, you haven't been paying attention.
The diverse woman? I mean, they're all diverse women, right?
There you go.
You literally have twins, right? And the good twin and the bad twin.
That's right. Yeah. Which is the diverse side? Who's on the right side?
They should make the bad twin white so we know what's going on.
Become the Night says the graphic novels were very political. I guess that makes sense, and I guess that's fair because I know that Garth Ennis is very like left wing, and he does like insert shit into his comics that I feel unnecessary. Like in I thought the first I think it's like the first 3 or 4 issues of Preacher I liked a lot, and then it just kind of collapsed in on itself after a time. But I never read the Boys comic. I don't remember who. I remember watching a YouTube video where someone went over the entire plot, and it seemed really like terrible. So that'd be a good series to kind of pull away from the source material, which I believe they have significantly pulled away from the source material. So Sketch for $2 says we have that plot. It was an anime called Pluto. Oh, really? That's interesting.
Oh,
Check
really?
it out.
Wow.
Libertarian Sasquatch for $2 says, was the Jedi a great big fat lady? Should have been.
Oh, yeah. We got the fat Jedi in there this
Big
time.
fat Jedi, yeah. That was so weird.
Yeah, they don't get it. They don't understand.
David Harrison for $5 says, you guys have nothing to talk about with Destiny. He's trying to get people on something and doesn't like talking to people he agrees with mostly. There you go.
Yeah, that was my take. I'm like, it's a losing scenario for us. It's like not fun, and what's the point? I don't want to do a bunch of research to debate Destiny on something we agree on. It's like, what? Why?
Become the Knight for $5 says the irony is the Acolyte. The irony in the Acolyte is the budget.
Of course. Look, I gave him a little heart because that is
fair. That's
right
good.
on the money.
TL1524 for $5 says late catching up with the stream, but Star Wars meets Sounds of the Lambs. The main bad guy should be Jar Jar Bill dancing to goodbye to Tantas. Dancing to goodbye Tantas. Tauntauns. There you go. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
The Wooster for $10. Hey, Wooster says, long time, no super chat. Hope y'all doing well. Have you guys heard of the latest leftist buzzwords, media literacy? It's ironic that they don't see how pretentious and pseudo-intellectual it sounds. Yeah, someone super chatted that earlier. I mean, media literacy has been around, I don't know, for like 6 months now. But it's...
what's it all about? Explain to me. Learn me the media literacy meme.
It's like this, it's basically whenever someone who's not a socialist complains about a movie or a TV show or something being bad, and the person wants to defend someone who's like on the far left, generally a socialist, who wants to defend the TV show or movie because it's perceived as being woke. Which is what's funny because they always complain about how like there's all these reactionaries complaining about movies or television being woke, and yet the only reason they're defending the piece of shit movie or television show is because
it is woke.
Because they also perceive it as woke. And so they say, so there's like this buzzword where they say like, oh, well, you just lack the media literacy to understand like what the true movie or TV show is. So that's what the term means. It's like whenever some far left person wants to undercut your ability to understand story. So you just don't understand the media literacy. I've never heard anyone use this like term unironically and actually know what the fuck they're talking about when they give their own analysis. So
yeah, look, I think Sitch and I can go toe to toe on media literacy with any of these clowns. So
yeah. The Real Holton A for $2 says, what is Leslie Headphones a master of? I mean, obviously she's a master of creating train wrecks. So
Leslie Headland.
I like headphones better. Colbius for $20. Thank you. Says, loved your idea with Silence of the Lamb adaptation. Genius. Curious to hear your thoughts on what it would take to salvage the story with the last 5 episodes, pretending you were given complete creative control. Ooh. Is it possible to fix it at this point after it's fallen so far?
Obviously it is, because people are invested in the train wreck now. And look, a lot of shows people end up liking, and they're like, it's a slow start, but once it gets going, you're good. I don't think they have the competency to actually do that, though. And I mean, I look, I don't know where they're trying to get by the end of this. Like, if their goal is to make the Jedi the bad guys, man, I would have started episode 1 just fucking Jedis laying people out. Like, none of this bullshit. They poisoned everyone with cyanide. I want to see fucking heads rolling. Because I mean, that's what's going to create the most intrigue, right?
Yeah,
You're
but
like, oh my
Disney
God, these Jedi are just fucking slaughtering everyone.
I think this. Well, first of all, that would just fans would be so mad. Number one, but number two, Disney, I doubt would not even allow them to do that either. So it's like, well, but then don't do it as a story. So
look, first of all, I'm not going to do anything that's going to make fans mad at me for all eternity. Okay. The way that I'm going to play it is I'm going to make you mad at first, and then I'm going to rein it back in. By the end of it, you're going to be like, oh yeah, the Jedi totally should have done that. That's the way to do it.
Oh, I see. So they're cutting off heads, and you're like, what the fuck? And then it's like, no, they were completely justified in cutting off all those heads.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way to do that story, isn't it? So everyone is fucking angry and mad. They're like, oh my God, you made the Jedi the bad guys. But by the end of it, you're like, oh my God, the Jedis are totally the good guys. They've been fucking framed. They've been wrongly accused.
That's how you would solve it. Okay, that's how you'd fix it. Is that you'd have to do this total like heel turn where it turns out like all the the lesbian witches stuff are just like the like horrible people. Jedi are actually like super based on what they were doing.
The problem though is we've already wasted 3 episodes that we don't know what the fuck is going on. So it's like, how do you like? It's only been implied that the Jedi are the bad guys. Like, I don't know what do you do with that? I guess we start episode 4. Jedi's fucking slashing people and killing all these people, right?
Right. I mean, so episode 4, she wakes up and it was all a dream.
Oh my God.
You start fresh.
Stop already.
It starts fresh. You can do whatever you want, okay? No, episode 4, she wakes up and it's like the hallucinations as she's dying, right? It's all worthless. Remember, what was that terrible movie that did that? It was the body. What the fuck was that movie? It was the organ harvesting movie. What was the name of that movie? You know what I'm talking about? Where it was like you would get
The Island.
No. The other organ harvesting movie.
What do you mean? There's more than one?
Yes, there was the one where it's like people would pay for organs and then they couldn't afford them, so they come and they like rip the organ out of their body.
Oh yeah.
And there's 2 versions. There's like a musical that's like really campy and wacky and people love, but I don't. And then there's like a non-musical version.
What is that? It's the name of the movie is the like Repossession or something.
Repo
like
Man.
that.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, there we go.
Repo. Yeah, so there's like Repo's Opera, which is the singing one, and then there's like the same plot. It's really weird. There's the same plot, but there's no music in it. And they did like I'm gonna ruin the fuck out of this movie. You should never see it. It's so bad. I think Forrest Whitaker is like it's him and Jude Law, right?
2 amazing actors.
Yeah, who are both great.
Unfortunate.
They do this weird thing where I forget there's a conflict. I think like Jude Law's wife or something, has an organ and like he wants to protect her instead of repossess it, and he gets in some conflict with Forrest Whitaker, and that like happens in the middle of the movie, and then you find out at the very end of the movie that the entire second half of the movie was like a delusion in Jude Law's head as he was dying because he failed at the halfway point in the movie, and it was all just a trick.
What?
Yes, it was like insane. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" It was like the weirdest fucking thing, the dumbest take ever.
They reset the whole movie halfway through.
It was all just like half of the movie was all just the delusions of the main character as he was dying. And I'm like, can you not? Like, why would you do this? This is insane.
This is a regular trope in movies now that I cannot stand. It's where the character imagines themselves like bashing somebody's head in or doing something extreme, and then it takes it all back. It's just, the close-up of them daydreaming of what they would like to do in the scene. I fucking hate that scene. I despise that scene because it's like, oh my God, something finally happened in this movie that's interesting that I'm on board. No, it's all just a dream. It's like so sad. Why is that? It's like, look, we have to have something interesting happening in our totally boring, nothing interesting happens movie. So
Mhm.
let's just shoehorn in this scene where something interesting happens. It's like, well, why can't you just shoehorn that into the actual movie? Why can't that just be part of the movie?
No.
It's so bad. Why, Sitch?
JMax says it's supposed to be artistic. It's not artistic. It's just like, oh, I hate, as much as I hate when they did that they did that in the fucking British movie I hate, Brazil. As much as they did that in Brazil, which I hate, at least with that, it was literally only the last like 60 seconds of the movie. With Repo Man, it was like the last hour of the movie is a delusion. I was like, come on.
Wow.
Uh, Damalus for $5 says, imagine if the twins shared a body and the witch is messed up. Would justify the Jedi and be more interesting, but not sure the writers are good enough. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of weird, like crazy ideas they could do to make this a little bit more interesting, but
They won't.
right. Are you following along the super chats? Because I gotta go to the bathroom real bad.
What do you got?
We're at Deej Nuts for $5.
Okay. Deej Nuts for $5. Most free, in quotes, porn is cut up segments of paid films from industry giants as advertising for their paid content. Same thing with OnlyFans. Okay, a little public service announcement there for you guys. So look, if you like a particular clip and you want to see more, you just get in there and, I don't know, pay for it somewhere. Forrest for $10 says, oh no, I don't know if I can read this without Sitch here. I might have to wait on this one. Oh, I'm just so tired. Sitch and I were arguing about this before. Just like Forrest for $10 says, the Democracy versus Republic. Oh, I see that, and I'm just like, oh, please make it stop. Make it stop. I can't stand arguing definitions. I really can't stand arguing definitions. We all know, we all understand the concept of majority rule. People voting, and whoever has the most people, the policy or the person is elected. We all understand that. That's a very essential part of the American system. I don't care what you call that. You call it whatever you want. You call that a republic if you want. I don't care. Okay? It's that concept that is good.
I think I lost 5 pounds in water weight just now.
Oh, you did? Jeez.
Are you reading the Democracy versus Republic thing?
I only got to the first sentence because I'm so
you got
I can't. I was telling them how you and I were talking about this before the stream began, because it's just I don't like arguing definitions. I really hate arguing definitions. Because what's the point? It's not like it's like software upgrade everybody's mind so they're all using the same definition. What's the point, Sitch?
I was going to say, I just want to say this to chat. Jacob's Ladder did that well, and it had a purpose to doing that. So, but anyway, regarding the democracy versus freedom thing.
Well, read the super chat. I never read it, so.
Okay, I'll read the super chat. Forrest for $10 says, regarding democracy versus republic, many confuse the verb democracy with the noun. A republic government can use a democratic process to select representatives without being a democracy. The verb can be good. The noun is mob rule. Well, I don't know anything about all that, but Tracy sent is kind of hilarious. He sent a link to Ben Shapiro's podcast on Spotify.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe Ben Shapiro listens to us or something, right? It's coincidence. He actually talked very specifically yesterday, I guess, about the democracy versus republic thing. And it's hilarious because he said the exact same fucking thing that we said.
Yes,
he said the exact same thing. He said it wasn't that democracy is the problem. He's saying direct democracy, which is what you guys are saying too in the chat, that direct democracy is the problem. And that's kind of what people his perception of the intuition is when people say, like, this is not a democratic process. It's really the conflation of that with direct democracy and complaining about some process not being a direct democracy versus being, your elected representative kind of figure something out. Which is exactly what I said. I said, okay, when people make the argument, don't say it's not democracy, it's a republic. Just say we don't live in a direct democracy. What the fuck are you talking about? We never have. So shut the fuck up. Like that'd be a much better way, in my opinion, to kind of shut down that argument if someone brings it up to you.
Yeah, so Ben Shapiro agrees with us. But what do you call that when your elected leaders, when they vote on the policy and the majority wins?
Well, that would be a democratic process. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
JMac, our circuit father, thanks so much, Daddy JMac, for the $20. Says, wow, just came from the real BBC stream talking about this stuff. I guess today I get a double helping.
Really?
Oh, I didn't know you were into BBC. I'm just kidding.
Oh, BBC? What's that stand for?
The British Broadcasting Company.
Oh, of course. Anything else? Does it only stand for that?
I believe that's all it stands for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but thank you. Rico Zoro for $5 says, sent DM Star Wars theories vid on Redcon Palpatine manipulating Anakin as Anakin tells Palpatine about the Acolyte witches. Check it out.
I saw that, but I didn't listen to the whole thing.
Is it funny?
I mean,
are we just gonna steal it if we watch?
I'm not really into the Star Wars lore or anything like that. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. I'm sure I'll appreciate it more than that.
Look, I do think you should have respect for the Star Wars lore, the lore of whatever IP it is. Yeah, respect the fans, I think, is important. Good storytelling is also important.
Of course.
Yeah.
JMac for $10. Thanks so much, Daddy. JMac says, isn't Princess Bride just the kid imagining it all through the story as the story is being told? I mean, doesn't actually happen to little Freddie Savage. There you go. It's the same thing. There you go.
Is it?
He's just no, I'm just kidding. No. There's nothing wrong with like that being structured where someone's telling him a story and he's like imagining it, and it's supposed to have this kind of like fairy tale, aesthetic to it. Like you're not tricked. You're not tricked into thinking that it's like real, and it turns out it's all fake or something. Like you understand what it is from the beginning.
Wizard of Oz is a dream, right?
Is it?
Yeah. She wakes up from a terrible dream.
Is it? It's a political allegory for turning
the gold standard
to the silver standard. That's what it is. Okay.
It is.
Yeah. How stupid is that?
True. The first populist movement.
There you go. Wizard of Oz is about getting us off the gold standard.
Yeah. That's why they had the yellow brick road. How
fucking hilarious is that shit?
It is hilarious.
Yes. In the original book.
That's why they're silver slippers.
Yes. Her shoes are silver. They're not ruby. And it's supposed to be symbolic of the fact that she just needs to clack her heels 3 times. You just need to change the silver standard, and you get back home. You solve all the conflict.
Emerald? Why is it the Emerald City? Why is it green?
Green like money.
Yeah, like money. Yep. Exactly. Yep. The greenbacks.
I know. So silly.
Mm-hmm. You should back the greenbacks with silver and not gold.
There you go. As JMax says, then if it's just a dream, how does Wizard of Oz 2 happen? That's a good point. It was just a fake. It was a fake.
She takes a little nap.
No, we just thought it was a dream, but it was actually real.
Amazing.
Mr. Borelli for $5 says, R.I.P. Noam Chomsky. He died? I mean, I know he's like old as fuck, but is he dead?
Oh, really? Wow.
He's 95. I guess
maybe he died.
Let's check on the old Twitters. Usually that's faster than articles.
Oh, really? Why can't you just type Noam Chomsky into Google?
I did. It wasn't clear to me whether he was alive or not.
Oh, might have been a fake.
Yeah, people are saying. I mean, everyone's saying he's dead on Twitter. So interesting.
Renowned linguist Noam Chomsky recovers in Brazilian hospital.
Yeah, but that was 6 days.
1 hour ago.
Oh, recovers.
Noam Chomsky, 95, in hospital in his wife's native country of Brazil after stroke. We remember Noam Chomsky, the intellectual. I guess it is unclear, right?
That's weird. Wait, okay. I'm clicking on the article. It's not even loading for me.
Noam
You think?
Chomsky suffered massive stroke recovering in Brazil. Noam Chomsky, 95, in hospital in his wife's native
Can
country
you?
of Brazil after stroke.
So I clicked the article that says that he's recovering. It's not. It's not even loading. Is it loading for you?
I don't want to click on it if it's not going to load.
Well, I
Let's
I
see.
can get an archive version of it.
The Independent loaded for me.
Says
Loaded right up.
okay.
Noam
Says he's
Chomsky has suffered a
recovering.
stroke, is recovering in a hospital, his wife has confirmed.
Hmm.
How
Maybe
dare you
that's
try to
changed, though.
gaslight us?
Maybe that's changed. Maybe because that was like an hour or two ago. So
Okay.
I don't want to believe that everyone on Twitter is wrong at.
A message about Noam Chomsky, an update. Oh, that's from 5 days ago, 6 days ago. Oh, yeah. You got to go to like the 15 minutes tools. Or how do I do that? Recent, past hour. Here we go. The Noam Chomsky I knew. Oh, that doesn't sound good.
That
The
doesn't sound
Statesman.
good.
Let's celebrate Noam Chomsky, the intellectual and moral giant, the Jacobin. Oh, that's not good. The U.S. Sun. Who is Noam Chomsky's wife? Oh, they're just going after his wife. Why is he in Brazil?
Someone
Did
has a
she kill
screenshot.
him?
Now, this could be a totally fake screenshot. Someone claims they have a screenshot from his wife saying that he is alive and that it's not true that he's dead.
It is never easy to meet your idol, Noam Chomsky, the American intellectual who died at the age of 95 on the 18th of June, made it harder by apologizing profusely. ... That's the Statesman.
Well,
But
I'm going to
look,
say it's unclear.
it's
whether he's
too early
alive or
to
not.
tell.
Yeah, we don't know. So.
Oh, here we go. Noam Chomsky becomes a zombie in 2024. Unclear if he's still alive or dead, as zombies are undead.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, that article wasn't helpful.
No,
that was on
okay.
horror movies today.
Right. I'm gonna say, yeah. I'm gonna say, who knows? Who cares? Does anyone care? I mean, I don't care.
Hasn't
like
Noam
Chomsky.
Chomsky been dead for a long time? Let's be honest here.
I feel like, yeah. I mean, ever since he became a socialist, he, officially was pronounced brain dead, right?
He's been irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
Last time we covered
life.
Noam Chomsky was on that Bad Faith podcast when, I mean, let's face it, Brianna Joy Gray kind of killed him on that show.
Was that the one where he was arguing that she should vote for Biden, and she was like, "No, I'm not going to vote for Biden. Shut up, Noam Chomsky."
Noam Chomsky kept saying, "Look, a vote for Biden is a vote for Trump," and Brianna,
a vote non-voting was for Trump. You're saying?
Well, oh yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Right?
He kept saying a vote for a third party candidate is a vote for Trump. Because she kept saying, look, I have to vote my heart. I can't vote for Biden. I need to vote for some radical socialist. Right?
Right.
Yeah. And he was like, that you might as well be, any vote that is not for Biden is a vote for Trump. That's what he was saying.
Right.
And she was like, I have to follow my heart, Noam Chomsky. I can't be rational. I'm a woman. Look, I'm a woman. I have to vote for who I feel. That's
Noam Chomsky has officially become Schrodinger's cat.
That's obviously very sexist, but men vote for who they feel anyway. Look at this worm. He's just like so desperate to get in my lap here.
You're a pussy magnet.
Oh, wow. Don't tell my wife.
Jonathan Smith for $10 says the term republics, unfortunately, are about as defined as socialism. People think it's about representation, but in actual use, it's about balance of power between different political groups. Really? Well, there you go. Interesting. Well, further shows why the conversation is silly. Dr. Diddler for $2 says, if Kathleen Kennedy told me in all honesty that the fan baiting was real, I'd have to give her props. Even if it is scummy, unfortunately, that doesn't apply to idiotic journalists who are all fully culpable for their stupidity. I mean, it's got to be. I feel like it has to be real at this point, just in terms of if it's not real, then the people running the Star Wars brand like are too stupid to breathe and eat at the same time without choking. And they have to perpetually be revived. Like I don't understand how they could be this dumb otherwise. Dr. Dill for $2 says, I'd be happier Star Wars was pumping out peak fiction, but having a genuinely atrocious show that everyone could laugh at and hate on is pretty fun, not gonna lie. Yes. Listen, I agree with you. I would prefer like to just be something that's good and we all like. But if, if it's between that and something like mid-level, middlingly just kind of boring, I'd prefer it just to be reviled and hated. Because at least then it's interesting. It's exciting.
Yeah, I agree.
Make it great.
The Matrix came out and everyone was like, oh, you probably weren't born yet. But I remember when the Matrix
came out. I saw the Matrix in movie theater. What the fuck?
Matrix came out and everyone was like, oh my God, it's so badass. It was like just revolutionary. Wouldn't it be great if there was something like that that had that kind of energy and love and affection in the Star Wars universe? Like it just seems impossible at this point.
It does.
Like, why can't they just get some fucking talented people in there? This is what everyone's talking about DEI. It's like, yes, you hired this woman because she's a fucking lesbian. Like, I don't care if you hire a lesbian. Hire someone who can write, okay?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. It's so simple. We want some magic. Get some real talent in there. Some real artists. Stop worrying about representation and start worrying about telling a compelling story that fans are going to love for years and decades and centuries to come. That you're literally chasing a fad. All of this shit is a fad. Such bullshit. The reason why Disney is where they are is because they focused on timeless classics. Storylines that parents would sit their children down and say, this is what I loved when I was a kid, and their kids would love it too.
Yep.
Yeah, this is bullshit. Like, parents don't want to sit down and watch it. Kids don't want to sit down and watch it. Sociology students want to sit down and watch it together.
Well, it's going to be fascinating when, we keep seeing the AI video get like better and better.
Yeah.
And as I said, I mean, I don't know. I think we're less than a decade away of like fans like just producing their entire movies with AI.
Yeah.
You're going to see like a resurgence of like really good fan products of like Star Wars or Game of Thrones or, some other properties. And you're going to get one that's like superior than all the others. And people just like, this is the official canon in my mind is like, Johnny 352's, Star Wars.
Can't wait. Although there is something amazing about, it's just that whole idea, like with the Matrix, everyone was on board. It was like universally loved. Everyone was like, oh, you have to see it. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
And then they ruined it, Adam.
They did ruin it. And Matrix 4, I mean, it makes me want to go homicidal. It's like, well, they ruined it. Bad.
They ruined it before that because I remember when Matrix 2 came out, and it was interesting because Matrix 2 and Matrix 3 were filmed back to back.
Yeah.
And I think it was like the first time they ever did this where Matrix 2 came out and then Matrix 3 came out like 4, which is very unusual, especially those days, because usually years. And like now people don't like Matrix 2, but when Matrix 2 came out, people liked it overwhelmingly for the most part.
Because it was a good setup that people were hoping they would pay off, but they didn't pay off.
Yeah, because Matrix 2 ends on that crazy cliffhanger where Neo is able to stop the robots. And everyone's like, how did he do that? Oh my God. There's like a million theories. Is there a Matrix inside a Matrix? Does the one have power outside the Matrix? Why would the one have power outside the Matrix? Do the robots not know that they're in a Matrix? There's like so many like crazy theories.
Which would have been
Matrix 3, it's like, oh,
None.
We're not going to explain it and no one cares. He's just like a Jesus allegory. Fuck you. And you're like, oh, what the fuck?
No, it's such a terrible payoff. The whole idea, this is why the Matrix 2 was amazing, because when you could indulge, you're like, oh my God, the entire first movie was about this amazing world that they set up outside of the Matrix. And then the Matrix 2 came out and you're like, we haven't even made it out of the Matrix. Like, what amazing world are they going to build that's like actually outside the Matrix? None, because they never fucking paid it off, right?
Right. Well, no.
Can you imagine like what is outside that Matrix? Oh my God.
That would have been interesting. But in the
Yeah.
third one, it's revealed that they were out of the Matrix. There was no Matrix within the Matrix. None of that was true. He just has powers in the real world for no discernible
For no
reason.
reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. So they
Yes.
totally break the story consistency, like the rules of the story they break. What if?
Well, and also because like the second Matrix ends with, he's in that room with Colonel Sanders, and he's like, you have to make a choice between if you save Trinity, all the humans plugged in the Matrix will die,
Right.
right? And or you can go back to the like that was such a crazy reveal. That was like the ultimate reveal. Or if you go back into the Matrix, we'll kill everyone in Zion. You'll kill like the 2,000 people, but all the people plugged in the Matrix will live, and the cycle will reset, and we'll once again kind of like begin anew the whole cycle. Everything's been planned from the beginning. And then he makes a decision that was supposedly none of the other Neos ever made to save Trinity, where all the other ones had decided to go back in the Matrix and reset the cycle. And it was weird because I was like, holy shit, that means like everyone's dead now, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Matrix 3, they never talk about that. No one's dead.
Yeah.
So was the KFC guy just lying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bullshit.
It was like, oh God, that was so weird. That's what's sad is when something is like so well set up. The first two movies are like pretty good, and then it just, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Crashes.
this is where movies fail. This is why, as a writer, you have to focus on the end of your movie. Like at least 50% of your writing time should be focused on the ending of that movie. You got to think, okay, wouldn't it be badass if we had a Matrix inside a Matrix and like we do all this crazy shit we don't reveal the actual real world until the very ending of the movie. And what would be the most amazing reveal of that real world? What is it? Is it like two guys sitting in a chair, like, communicating with each other via some internet like connection? Like, what is it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it simulation theory?
Did you ever you saw Existence, right?
Yeah, I saw that, but
Because it kind of has that.
barely remember it.
Yeah, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird because it was like Existence, the 13th Floor, and the Matrix. I think they all came out like the same time.
Right? Yeah, virtual
They're all
reality.
kind of about like the same thing.
Playing into the virtual reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Borelli for $5 says, in live action Naruto movie, Sakura will be a feminist girl boss. Sasuke. I don't know why I can't speak right now. Sasuke, a minority, and Kakashi, a member of the LGBT community. I wouldn't be surprised.
So,
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think they should make Naruto black in the Naruto movie.
I'm so sad that Mike Zero guy is just a big fat liar, because he was saying like all these Leslie Headland movies were being canceled. Like she got some deal to do 3 Star Wars movies that were canceled in some Disney meeting over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
All that's just made up, huh?
I guess it's all just made up. Sad, right?
Yeah. Oh, wow. People can do that?
I guess they can. We should do that. Jonathan Smith for $10 says republics were creating balance of power between the oligarchs, merchants, nobility, etc. Well-formed republics decrease internal conflict, and meritocracy increases. It encourages peaceful competition. Interesting. There you go.
I'm not against republics. Like, what is the definition of republic? Republic.
Well, it's weird because if you just type it in, it just says, I mean, that's not what it says. It says the definition of republic is a state where supreme power is held by the people and their elected representatives, and which has an elected or nominated president rather than a monarch. So I don't know what definition. I don't know why your definition seems to be a conflict with whatever the Oxford definition is, but
I always think of a republic as a nation of laws, where the law is above anyone in the administration.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's incorrect.
I know. I always thought republic was just, it's the power is supposed to be in the hands of the people, but it's not a direct democracy. You have, people have elected representatives who represent them in the various levels of government. So
A state in which supreme power is held by the people and their elected representatives, and which has an elected or nominated president rather than a monarch. Okay.
prior to the 17th century, the term was used to designate any state with the exception of tyrannical regimes, derived from the Latin expression res publica, the public thing. The category of republic could encompass not only democratic states, but also oligarchies, aristocracies, and monarchies. In the 6 books of the Commonwealth, Jesus, from 1576, his canonical study of sovereignty, the French political philosopher Jean Bodin thus offered a far-reaching definition of republic, quote, the rightly ordered government of a number of families in those things which are their common concern by a sovereign power. Tyrannies were excluded from this definition because their object is not the common good, but the private benefit of a single individual. During the 17th, so I guess that's what you were talking about, John. But then the article continues. During the 17th to 18th century, the meaning of republic shifted with the growing resistance to absolutist regimes and their upheaval in a series of wars and revolutions. Shaped by those events, the term republic came to designate a form of government in which the leader is periodically appointed under a constitution, in contrast to a monarchy based on heredity. Despite its democratic implications, the term was claimed in the 20th century by states whose leadership enjoyed more power than most traditional monarchs, including military dictatorships such as the Republic of Chile under Pinochet, and of course, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. So, interesting. Solid for $2 says, what are your thoughts on Richard Mayer, ya boy Zach, complaining about the complaining over the Acolyte, saying that no one should be surprised it's woke, that you shouldn't criticize things before seeing them? Well, I haven't seen his videos on it, so I don't know exactly what he said. I agree that you shouldn't criticize things before seeing them.
We've seen them, though.
I know. I agree that you shouldn't criticize before seeing them. I know because, again, I didn't like House of Dragons, but a lot of other people liked House of Dragons, and I remember people were very heavily criticizing that. But then most people acknowledged it. They said, listen, I was wrong. I liked it, blah, 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 when I saw it. So I agree, you shouldn't criticize things before seeing it. But, I mean, we have 3 episodes out now. We've seen them. They're all trash. It's all trash. It's not just trash because it's woke. I mean, it's woke, and it's also trash for reasons that have nothing to do with wokeness. So I don't understand what his complaint would be at that point, unless he likes it and thinks it's good and thinks people are just kind of like bad faithing it, which that would be pretty shocking to me if he thought that. But
yeah, it's bad because they're incompetent writers. Yeah. And the source of that incompetence is probably woke hiring practices.
One would imagine, yes, that would be the case. That seems like that, because kind of like, how else do these people get in these positions? So,
yeah.
Okay.
Did you know Kathleen Kennedy was hired by George Lucas?
I did know that, yeah. That's how she got the job.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy. All right. Are we good?
No, we're not good, Adam. We're never good. Star Wars is gone. Dr. Dealer for $3 says, where will we be without Noam Chomsky? If he's gone, who will deny all those genocides and advocate for horrible, destructive forms of government? We'll be practically lost. That's a great point. It's a great point.
Someone will come along.
Hassan can pick up the mantle. Okay.
Oof.
Anyways.
All right. Great show. That show was amazing, Sitch. Oh my God. It's incredible. I'm going to hit that like button multiple times.
No, you only hit it once. If you hit it more than once, it unlikes it. Okay. You got to hit it just one time.
As long as it's an odd number of times, I don't care.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.